Ah, I see. We are not exactly cellmates, but we're neighbours, so to speak. We're prison neighbours. Cell neighbours? I guess. Doctor.
Ah, hater. I wish I could forget you were here. Alas, unlike that silent in the next cell, I can't.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Do you even have any reason to?
No, not really. I'm just a hater. I mean, I have lots of reasons to hate you, but when it all is said and done, I'm just a hater. So it mainly comes down to hate, and every other reason is just part of the hate. But mainly, it's just hatred.
And that is why I wish I could forget you were here.
I bet you wouldn't want to forget this face, would you? Ha ha! You missed me, right?
I did.
Don't worry, Doctor. I'm here to help. I'm here to get you out of here.
Let's go, Nick.
Nick, please take me with you! I'm sorry. I didn't mean any of it. No, you're not. You're right, I did. But please take me with you anyway. No, for you see, I was the one who put you in here in the first place, as you probably are aware. So I'm afraid, because you haven't actually learnt your lesson, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to leave you here, and I'm just going to take the Doctor. So, bye! No! Bastard! Hello everyone, Nick here and welcome to my review of the Doctor Who 2021 New Year's special, Revolution of the Daleks. So Revolution of the Daleks, the plot of this episode sees the reconnaissance Dalek casing from Resolution being transported to a disclosed site, but it is hijacked on a route by Jack Robertson's people, and he takes it to this sciencey guy called Leo, who then creates a new group of security robots based on the casings, as well as also clones of biological substances within the casing, the former of which are shown to a local MP who has them ordered to be dispatched across the country, and ultimately she becomes the Prime Minister due to having the former car factories be the factories of these new robot creatures. Alongside their functions, earning her popularity and getting her to be the party, the leader of her party, and then eventually the Prime Minister. So it's probably the Conservative Party. Meanwhile, with the case with the latter, Leo is ordered to destroy it by Robertson, but the creature then escapes and takes over Leo's body, much like we saw with the reconnaissance Dalek in Resolution. Following the events of the Timeless Children, the fam have been stuck on Earth without the Doctor. So Yaz has been trying to find a way to find the Doctor again, whilst Ryan and Grim have been keeping an eye on Earth, and they have to confront Jack Robertson about the Dalek. All this time, the Doctor is currently in the space prison, the Jadine space prison, when Captain Jack breaks her out and takes her back to Earth, where they team up with the fam to try and stop the clone Daleks, who've now inserted themselves into the casings, from destroying the Earth. And the only way to do this is to call the actual Daleks to destroy them before getting rid of those ones. So that's basically the plot of Revolution of the Daleks. And in my opinion, this was a really great episode. Lots of fun, lots of good stuff. There were a few niggles, there were a few issues I had with it, but for the most part, it was a good story. I'll get negatives out of the way. First of all, the Doctor in prison stuff didn't last very long. It was about 10-15 minutes of the first third of the episode Didn't last very long, so I think we could have either had more happen with it. Maybe the character could have been broken a little bit. The character, as we see in the when she is in the prison, is very much in keeping in character with 13, but she looks a little bit more depressed. She acts a bit more depressed whilst there. But with her out so quickly, she snaps back into business as usual, 13th Doctor, shortly afterwards. I think we should have either had the prison break her a bit more, or more stuff with the prison, or scrap it altogether, scrap the whole segment, and just jump from, just say that she was 10 months late because the TARDIS wasn't that reliable. It's happened before, so yeah, I think we could have just cut all that, really. And it's a shame because that is both a new idea as well as also what half the marketing of the episode was about. But alas, it was over quickly, too quickly even. Some nice fan service, but it was over too quickly. I also found the climax to be a bit rushed. We didn't see an awful lot of the Black Daleks once the mutants had gone inside their casings, and then the Bronze Daleks came to kill them. That only happened about 40 minutes in. The mutant Daleks taking over the black casings were about 40 to 45 minutes in, and then the Bronze Daleks turned up around that point as well. And then they dispatched them really quickly. There's some pretty cool fight scenes, but they're dispatched really quickly. And then the actual climax of the Bronze Daleks is also really fast and a bit done a bit too quickly. The additional side characters of the new Prime Minister and Leo, we could have had a bit more to do with them, especially with the Prime Minister who's just there, just to have the Daleks roll out and that's it. And Leo sadly gets killed off as well. It could have been nice to have him stick around a bit longer, but or have some more character growth or development. And also Jack Robertson doesn't die. He doesn't face any punishment. He gets away with it. It looks like he was about to betray the Doctor to the Bronze Daleks, and then they rescue him from them, and then they confront him about it, and he's like, "Oh, I was distracting them," and they believe him, or at least they let him go. They let him go. Yeah, I don't believe that they believe he was telling the truth. I think they know deep down he's lying. But in that case, why did they let him off scot-free? I also think it's a bit of a letdown that the companions didn't get much more time to investigate the threat themselves and grow a bit more as characters. That would have been interesting, especially as with the Doctor away, it would have been good to see that. But that's about it for the negatives. Onto the positives. First of all, whilst the 13th Doctor's character isn't that great in the story, at least after she escapes from prison, it's business as usual. Besides a few good conversation moments, but Jodie Whittaker continues to do a good job as the 13th Doctor. She's not exceptional, and neither is the Doctor. They're a bit. The Doctor is a bit bland, apart from a few occasions. I think 13 needs that little bit more spice that the prison stuff could have introduced, but didn't really. I think we could have had a bit more. I think we need to spice up 13's character in the next series. The companions the same. I think we need a bit more time with them working on their own to investigate the Daleks, in order to develop the characters a little bit more, at least to show that what they're capable of without the Doctor being around. That being said, the acting for the characters all continue to be pretty great, but I think the characters are what is letting the characters down. Captain Jack Harkness, on the other hand, absolutely fantastic. Not only does John Barrowman slip back into the role really well, but Chris Chibnall, having written the character for Torchwood Series 1 and 2, writes the character spectacularly. He feels a lot like it's Russell T Davies writing the character. It is just absolutely pitch perfect, on the nose, pitch perfect fantasticness. Similarly, the same thing could be said for the Daleks. Chris Chibnall is the best writer for the Daleks since Russell T Davies, and he does a fantastic job. He understands the Daleks, he knows what they're about, and he knows how to write them. And Nicholas Briggs does another fantastic performance as the voice of the Daleks, and I love how he gives the black casing ones more classic series vibe voices, whilst the bronze ones retain the more new series style voices. There are a few exceptions where the black ones, some of them do lean into the more new series ones, and the bronze ones. There's a few that lean into the classic series ones, but for the most part, the black ones sound more like the classic series Daleks from like the 70s or the 80s, and the bronze ones sound like the more like the usual new series Dalek voices. Nicholas Briggs continues to be the god of all Dalek voices, and may he continue to do so for many, many, many more years to come. And whilst I wasn't so keen on Robertson's face, he was a much better character here than he was in Arachnids in the UK. He was just a Trump parody, Diet Trump, as Mr. TARDIS said in his Arachnids video and later videos. It's just Diet Trump in Arachnids in the UK. But here, the character is much better. He's not really likable, but he's got more to do with the plot, and he's got more direct involvement, and he's not just a Trump parody. He's like a dodgy businessman, which is it's a bit better, but the character feels more fresh, whilst also familiar. And Chris Newth once again does a great job in the role with what he's got. I just think the character is done better here than in Arachnids, where he was basically a Trump parody. Here, he's at least a bit more. There's a bit more to him than being a Trump parody. And the cast, the acting of the Prime Minister Lady and Leo were also good. It's just a shame the characters they didn't have as much screen time or character growth as I think they should have had. Production-wise, this episode looks stunning and is directed really well by Lee Haven Jones. I believe it looks really well put together and really nicely made. Some great stuff here. I think most of the issues that I do have are kind of on a story level, but on an execution level, it does look great. It looks absolutely stunning and amazing and brilliantly directed. So Revolution of the Daleks has a lot of great stuff going for it, but there are a few things that let it down, as I mentioned. The climax with the Daleks, like I said, I think the black ones should have had more time to show off their force before the bronze ones turn up. I do love how they have the red lasers, whilst the bronze ones continue to use the blue ones. And it's great to see Daleks killing a lot of people again. Remains in character for the Daleks. I think there's more Dalek deaths here than in all of the Dalek stories of the Stephen Moffat era. That's what I've heard. And from the judge of it, that is probably true. More so from the black Daleks than the bronze ones. But yeah, that's still keeping character. And whilst I do like how the bronze Daleks were defeated in a pretty cool plan, pretty interesting way, it was like I said, it was a bit hurried, and it is a bit disappointing the black ones are defeated so easily. We could have had a Dalek civil war akin to Remembrance of the Daleks, or the end of Resurrection of the Daleks and Revelation of the Daleks, but unfortunately it's not very long, and most of the black Daleks are eliminated too quickly, and then the bronze Daleks are sadly gotten rid of too quickly as well. I would have liked the episode to focus a bit more on the Daleks. That's something Resolution actually did better. It focused most of its episode on the Dalek, but also focused half of it, the other part of it on Ryan and his dad's story. And I don't think it gelled that well together initially. I think it gelled a bit better later on, but not earlier on. Here it's the opposite problem. We've got lots of elements that gel together really well for the most part, but we don't really focus on the Daleks too much, which is a shame. I think we should have a few more minutes with the black ones at least. I'm hoping the next Dalek story in the Chibnall era focuses on the Dalek stuff primarily, like in Resolution, but gels in a bit better with other stuff going around, like we have in this episode. As for the exit of Ryan and Graham, I thought it was well handled. I think it fits in with their characters, even if it's a little underwhelming. It's not the best companion exit, and even the reasons aren't the best, but I do think it works with the characters. I think it's good. It's not the most heartbreaking or tear-jerking one, but it's well handled. And I like the end of the episode where Ryan and Graham are back on the hillside and Ryan's on the bike practicing again, and they see Grace one more time, and then they go off to investigate mysterious goings on elsewhere in the world. So I think the companion departure was handled well, but A, I think the reasons could have been a bit better, and B, we could have expanded on the characters a little bit more. So yeah, it's not a perfect exit, but I think it does well for these characters. As for the new companion joining next series, well, let's wait and see what they're like, shall we? I expect Darren, played by John Bishop, will be a great character. We'll see when that story comes along. Overall, Revolution of the Daleks, as I said, is a great episode, but it has its issues, it has its flaws, and I can see those being pretty noticeable. There are some bits that let down the story in places, but overall, I think this is a fun, enjoyable, and entertaining story, which wraps up Series 12 pretty nicely, and also this part of the era, it wraps up this side of the era pretty well. So I will be giving Revolution of the Daleks a 9 out of 10. It's enjoyable story. Like I said, some issues, but overall an entertaining story with some great Dalek stuff. Yeah, there's not a huge amount of it, but there's some really great Dalek stuff in this episode. When they are on screen, when they get Dalek-y stuff to do, they are absolutely fantastic. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching this review, and I shall see you guys next time. Goodbye.